And welcome back, everyone. Good morning, good evening, especially good morning to the players from Australia and New Zealand. We are back with ANZ Champs 2022 season number 2 qualifier 1. I'm of course your host ZvP. Today I will be alone. Unfortunately, I will be alone for the time being, but we'll see if that changes as the bracket progresses. Oh my god, and the bracket, it's so spicy, papi. It is so spicy. Ay ay ay. The seating is questionable. Oh my god, let's just quickly have a look at the bracket ourselves right here, right now. Let me just also message the players that we will cast as well, just so they are aware. And here we have it. Shout out to our lovely admins Tonasu, as he was of course seeding the brackets. And I guess to quickly go over a couple of things, for those wondering, ESL ANZ Champs is kind of like GSL but for the Australian and New Zealand region. It's a tournament that has been running for a couple of years now, with around 2 seasons a year, and the format has been changing from year to year. Originally we had a very large, round robin format, but because it went on for so long, the players kind of, had issues with it, and then they shortened it to a weekend tournament. And now we've gotten to the point where we're going to be covering this over the course of, I think, 3 weeks instead. So we are going to be stretching this out a little bit longer. Jumping on David. So yeah, it is going to be over the course of 3 or so weeks instead. A lot of StarCraft ahead of us, especially for the ANZ scene. But it's also at a little bit of an inopportune time. What do I mean by that? A couple of things have happened quickly before we go over the bracket, and we can already see something that's happening there. But some things that happened were that Chappie, of course, one of the best Zerg players in all of Australia, Chappie is currently in Japan. He went to Japan on holidays like a week ago. Because of that, Chappie won't be able to compete in ANZ Champs. He is still there in Japan, out of the country, unfortunately. Likewise, NXZ is still in Singapore as well, so he's not quite residing in the land of Australia. And Oreo also won't be participating either. He is going to be focusing on his studies, focusing on IRL commitments, and that is 3 top-tier Zergs that won't be a part of ANZ Champs. Ay, ay, ay. The Australian region is already infested by Terrans, and it's only gonna get worse. It's gonna keep on going, Papi. It's gonna keep on going. But alas, I was a little bit concerned that we weren't going to cover barely any Zerg players. I thought Pepe was going to be the only notable, but we also have Vivid coming in. We have David specifically said, MightyKiwi said that he wasn't going to play because of course he's looking after his newborn child. But alas, things worked out, and as we can see here, our first matchup of the night, MightyKiwi versus Sepheron into Pepe. Oh my god. Gonna be sick, puppy. It's gonna be sick. Likewise, just below that, we have Vivid versus Starduck. We have Jadoff, Asher Bro, Akon, Sounder, Runamuk, and Seether. I don't know if you noticed, but all the Terran players have been filtered towards the lower portion of the bracket. Every single Terran player is down there, so it's a bit of a blessing in disguise. Oh my god. Because of that, a lot of the Zergs and all the Zergs and Protoss will be able to avoid those scary Terran players. And now we have our first series of the night. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the New Zealand Zerg player himself, representing Root Gaming. It is MightyKiwi. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have his opponent, the Australian Protoss player. He is pink, representing Team License to Kill LTK. It is Sepheron. We just had to dive straight into it. So for those wondering, I believe this qualifier is going to be double elimination, and one player will be advancing from the upper bracket, another player will be advancing from the lower bracket. So 2 players in total. You may be wondering, are we missing some players? Well, Piglet, Probe, Azure, and Pez have all been seeded and invited into the main event. They do not have to participate in the qualifiers because those 4 players did exceedingly well in PAX Australia. Of course, the tournament a month or so ago. Oh my god, as it shouldn't be a surprise to us, Sepheron is of course opening up with a Forge, is going to be opening up with some cannons. Sepheron is one of the cheesiest, if not the cheesiest, now that I think about it, Protoss player in our region, but I'm sure MightyKiwi is fully aware of that. Opening up standard, by the way, Hatch Gas Pool, very interesting choice. MightyKiwi is typically a more aggressive player as the Probe is sneaking on in. Oh, and this is more of a macro cannon rush, actually. Interesting choice here by Sepheron. This, of course, I believe he actually went Nexus first, but this does allow a safer base. This also means that you can actually commit to some cannons and try and force a cancel at the natural, but no, Sepheron doesn't go for it. So interesting decisions here. Sepheron, again, he's not a very standard player. To open up like this is pretty inefficient, but also you can say hyper safe, like he has access to cannons, I guess, if he really wanted to defend. And this usually does kind of lead into Skytoss. What have I gotten myself into? what have I done? Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna be getting into this. It's gonna be a long day in StarCraft, Papi. There is that cannon as well. Sepheron's gonna be skipping his first Zealot, gonna be waiting for the Cybercore to finish up, and again, this should all be kind of leading towards a Stargate opener. We'll see if he diverges from this plan. We've got plenty of gas if he wanted to start something like, or get into like a fast +1 attack or something. He could also try and go for that as well, go for like a Void Ray charge timing. Meanwhile, MightyKiwi, upon seeing the Forge, he is scouting around his bases with his Lings. He's trying to make sure that there are no hidden cannons anywhere. Oh, as there we go, beautiful. My apologies. Bam. His Lings are actually scouring the edge of the map as well, so again, he's not really trusting Sepheron too much, and it makes sense because Sepheron does have a reputation to him for being, you know, very cheesy and a little bit tricksy. So again, the Lings are just scouting everywhere. All the Zolnagas have been taken by these Lings as well, so great scouting information here by MightyKiwi. As we see the Stargate in the main base, MightyKiwi goes in for the scout at around the 3-minute 20 mark, and he will confirm that Stargate. So far, great scouting information here by MightyKiwi. We see a 3rd base on the way, so it's not going to be a 2-base all-in from Sepheron. MightyKiwi, if he has eyes on this, looking at his vision, he does not. He could try and apply some pressure and deny this, but Sepheron is getting away with this 3rd for the time being. Void Ray is coming out first, not an Oracle, and we have to question where things go from here. I do think that it's a little bit predictable if he goes into Skytoss from here. It would be interesting if after this first Void Ray he goes into something like an Oracle instead. But there is that +1 air attack. Ling's gonna check the front line and they will confirm this. Ling's actually slipped past the wall. The wall was not a wall, by the way, and he's actually gonna get a probe, maybe even 2. Oh. Gets 1 probe for his troubles. Can he get a second? Oh, barely. Oh, he wants it. But it looks like the Adepts are going to clean this up in the end. More Lings are going to be flooding towards a 3rd base. Adept goes down, Pylon goes down. Sepheron is being pulled apart right now. It won't be enough to deny the 3rd base, but takes down the Pylon, which means it will delay any kind of shield battery. It will mean that this 3rd will be more vulnerable to another attack. Meanwhile, there's a fleet beacon. This is so old school. Oh my god. So Forge into double Stargate Void Ray. Meanwhile, the wall is still not a wall. Sepheron needs to wake up, mate. I know it's early in the morning here in Australia, but these Lings are doing a surprising amount of damage. More importantly, they also get a full scout of the main base. We have confirmation of the fleet beacon and the 2nd Stargate, so we get a full scout of said main, and now MightyKiwi can respond. We have a Hydrogen on the way. Actually changing his mind. I was about to say I love the Hydrogen because the economy has been hindered here. 4 probes just went down, and there was a little bit of chaos at the 3rd. Like, this all leads towards a very strong Hydra timing. But we all know that Hydra timings, if they don't work, they do set you behind. They can be pretty all-in a certain way. So for MightyKiwi to go for a Spire instead, I mean, it shows us that he wants to go for a safer route, a later timing, and a more kind of macro-oriented game, feeling confident in his macro against Sepheron. Meanwhile, we have two Adepts shading in towards the third base. Finally, Sepheron is going to be dealing some counter damage here, putting MightyKiwi on their back foot. 5 drones going down, and the Adepts are still alive. They're shading in towards the natural as well. This is also getting a little bit out of hand here. 8. Can we get 9? Can we get 10? Oh. 9 drones in total for 2 Adepts. Well worth it here in a strong way to get back into this game economically. Meanwhile, Sepheron is just getting more cannons, more shield batteries, saturating his third base. He only made 2 Void Rays. This is very greedy. Again, this also leads me to believe that if we did have a Hydra timing, I don't believe that Sepheron would have had enough here to defend. He's trying to go straight into carriers. We have a 3rd Stargate on the way. Regardless, you know, as the game progresses, Queen Corruptor does excel here, and not just because they both shoot up, but of course Corruptors are very tanky, and things like Transfuses do come into play. We do see Sepheron actually overextending with his Void Rays. Will lose his ground army and also a Void Ray. Ooh. Spoke too soon. The Void Rays barely get over this ledge. Unfortunately, no high ground vision here from MightyKiwi. The Void Rays escape, and Sepheron, upon seeing the 4th of MightyKiwi, is getting his own 4th. Meanwhile, the carrier has been revealed. This is an important scout. This tells MightyKiwi, okay, you're going as quickly into carriers as possible. We don't have a safety amount of Void Rays. 2 more Stargates. 5 Stargate production. This is actually so disgusting. Like, MightyKiwi, I kind of want to say that he can't let Sepheron get away with this. I like that the Queens are moving out. You know, the creep is slowly pushing forward. We have Corruptors on the way. I imagine we're going to be hitting a timing with Queen Corruptor. But again, as the game goes on longer, like, this is getting more worrisome here for MightyKiwi. Ling's going to go for a bit of a counterattack here. Going to be checking the 5th base. Going to be maybe even checking the 3rd. We do have a Baneling Nest, I believe, so we can even go for a bit of a Baneling Run-By. There we go. Banelings are being morphed in. Overseer goes for a bit of a scout. Is going to be shut down by these Void Rays. Oh. There we go. Sepheron with eyes on that Changeling. Banelings. Do we have Banelings speed? It looks like we do. Oh my god. And if Sepheron isn't quick to react, he could lose a lot. But he does finish up 2 of these cannons in time. He has plenty of stack defense here to shut down a lot of these Banelings before they get into the mineral line. But is it going to be enough? Here we go. As the Banelings are rolling on forward. Meanwhile, Hydrogen is still thrown down from MightyKiwi, so a little bit indecisive as to what he wants to do. Banelings do end up getting in a little bit, but oh, not enough done here. +2 melee isn't done, which means Baneling's 2-shot probes, not 1-shot, so we need a little bit more than that. Forcing some lost mining time, killing some cannons. Unfortunately, MightyKiwi is trading gas for minerals right now, so it's not really paying off here. We see a full wall-up on the right-hand side for Sepheron, so even though another Baneling Run-By is being set up, like, these just aren't really paying for themselves. And now Sepheron is fully saturated on 4 bases. The carrier count is getting even higher. We have a Templar Archives to get into Archon production to help support these carriers. Baneling's going to roll on in, but again, there isn't really a way into that mineral line. Oh, can they get in? Up! Oh my god! Sepheron pulls into the Banelings despite having a cannon in the back line to help DPS them down and loses 8 probes. Not bad. But Sepheron is still ahead in workers compared to MightyKiwi. Oh boy, MightyKiwi is on 4 bases, and that is it. What you see is what you get. I'm surprised that we don't have a 5th. Oh no, there we go. Okay. 5th is thrown down here on the right-hand side. 82 workers isn't bad. You know, the corrupted count's getting quite high. The queen count as well. I'm a little bit concerned about the divergence into Hydras. I guess there can be a place for them. Oh boy, but Sepheron is pushing out. Oh no, the queens are getting caught out of position. Oh, 2 queens go down for free, and that is devastating. We need every single queen here for these transfuses. Boy, MightyKiwi just rotating around, trying to get eyes on a potential other base. More Corruptors are coming in. MightyKiwi is going to max out soon. The other interesting thing is that MightyKiwi has decided to prioritize air attack instead of air defense or air carapace, which is good when it comes to focusing down these carriers. Can struggle against the mass interceptor. We'll see if he's going to be able to hit this timing here, as MightyKiwi is about to max. Oh my god. Thankfully, no Archons yet, so no real way to punish these Corruptors. Meanwhile, their Banelings, they get caught out. Oh, great catch here from Sepheron. MightyKiwi trying to find a way and trying to find a stray unit here and there. Storm isn't done, but Storm finishes in 5 seconds. Oh god, and here we go. The Storms are going to be connecting. So far, he hasn't gone for it yet. I believe we have 2 High Templar underneath this army. The target firing is pretty good. 3 carriers go down. Oh, 5 carriers even. My mistake. Not bad. Oh my god, but here are those Storms. The Corruptor count with the transfuses are going to be enough to get on top of all these carriers. Only 2 carriers remaining. Now 1, but is there enough to deal with the Void Rays? It looks like with the last handful of Corruptors, every single carrier has gone down, and now we are going up against literally Mass Void Ray without Flux Veins, I believe. Interesting. We have found ourselves in a very interesting position here. So Void Rays and Storm are what Sepheron is working with. Unfortunately for MightyKiwi, as this has been happening, a 5th base has gotten up and running. We have cannons, we have shield batteries. Looks like we are transitioning into Hydras, which I kind of appreciate. I say kind of. The Hydras and the Queens here serve the same role, and unfortunately, especially because the Queens are quite thick, they can get in each other's way, so he has to be a little bit careful here. Lings are in production behind this. On top of that, we have Storms, and Storms, it doesn't take much to kill a Hydra. MightyKiwi has to be very careful. Thankfully, Sepheron is out of position here, like completely out of position as his 3rd base is under threat. Oh my god, he has to rush on over. Meanwhile, MightyKiwi just pokes and prods. He's going to be rotating back over here towards that 4th. More Banelings going to be rolling in here. These Banelings are crucial, by the way. They have to connect with these High Templar. If they don't deal with them, then I don't see MightyKiwi taking a fight. Oh boy, it's going to be so close. Yeah, MightyKiwi setting up for a bit of a surround here on this base. Here we go. He's coming in from every single angle. The Banelings are rolling on forward. Storms are going to slow them down, but the Banelings don't find their connections. Oh, but what's important is a lot of the Storms were baited by those Banelings. Hydras are pushing on forward, but there is that Storm. Oh, and there's the second Storm. I believe that is the final Storm available for Sepheron. And with that, the carriers are coming out. I don't think it's going to be enough. There's no transfuse available here toward these Queens, and it looks like Sepheron barely holds. Oh my god. And what a hold. This is a 6th base. This is getting dangerous. A 6th base is on the way. Sepheron's economy is booming right now. He barely manages to hold, getting into these into these carriers. And I feel like MightyKiwi has to get out of these Hydras. Like, Corruptors are what we need once again, now that the carrier count is getting even higher. Instead, he's going into Infestors. Interesting choice. It looks like he wants to go for Microbial Shroud, which can help these Hydras. Unfortunately, the High Templar count is still quite high. We have 3 High Templar, and as great as Microbial Shroud is, and it's not that great, Storm can be better. Storm is better. Meanwhile, the Hydra's just dancing here with these charges, with these Void Rays. Has to be careful not to overextend. We have upgrades being committed here into range, into melee. MightyKiwi trying to find another way in. I mean, again, he does have his own half of the map. His bases and his economy aren't bad. I would personally love Vipers in this situation, especially against all of these Void Rays. Like, 1 or 2 Power Bombs can work wonders. But MightyKiwi, with his mobility, is just, once again, outpositioning Sepheron, and Sepheron is not turning around, by the way. He is giving up this base, which I think is a smart choice. He can afford to lose bases because of how many Nexi he has, and he's going for the kill. Meanwhile, DTs come in to defend. The Void Rays are pushing on forward. This hatchery is going to fall. The rest of the army is going to converge on this, though. He could go in for a round. The Banelings are coming in. Ooh, and the Banelings, they find their connections. Every High Templar goes down. 0 Storms available. Now, Infestors and Microbial Shroud can actually come into play. But where's the detection? We need detection, puppy. Ah! DTs move on forward as well, forcing MightyKiwi back to his spore. Meanwhile, Infestors are finally coming out. And what's important, Sepheron is max. Looking at the units tab here, we have 2 DTs, we have 6 carriers, 11 Void Rays. We don't have enough supply to make any High Templar. Hydras, they can work. checkmate. With no storm, with no splash damage, with Microbial Shroud, the dream is alive. Despite the fact that so many people meme all over Infestors and Microbial Shroud against Skytoss, MightyKiwi may have found his in. Oh my god. We'll see if he can pull it off here, as here we go, the Infestors are coming out to support the army as well, slowly gathering that energy once again. MightyKiwi pushing forward. I love that he does put that Overseer in observation mode, keeping it in the back line. Once again, Sepheron, he chooses to give up this base, and he's going for another counterattack. Unfortunately, Zerg doesn't have a recall, so MightyKiwi, he has to make a choice here. Does he turn around to deal with this army, or does he commit and just try and break into the main? It looks like he will turn around in the end. A hatchery will end up falling. Not a very important hatchery is what I'll say here for MightyKiwi, so very expendable. But this base is a little bit more valuable. A second hatchery is going to fall. Meanwhile, here in comes MightyKiwi with his Infestors going for the Fungals instead. It looks like he catches 4 or 5 of these carriers. Not bad. A couple more Microbial Shrouds are being thrown down here. Sepheron cannot engage. It looks like he's going for infrastructure damage instead. He gets a third hatchery. Oh, and no more Microbial Shrouds available. The target firing was just a little bit too good, and it looks like there is just too much Skytoss. Every Hydra is going to go down here. Looks like the interceptor count is getting lowered, but there's just too much supply. MightyKiwi has lost so much. He does have a bank. Does he have the larva, though, as we have that recall? Oof. Oh my god, this is disgusting. Meanwhile, we have Mass DT headed towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map as well. We have a little bit of protection, but I don't know if MightyKiwi, he has spotted this. He is headed in this direction. Unfortunately, one of those Overseers is going to get taken out. The rest of the Skytoss army is on the way. MightyKiwi is supply blocked. He can't max out. Oh, 7 Overlords are on the way. Okay, 1 Void Ray going down again, fighting without the support of the carriers. There's no detection here, by the way. The DTs are coming in. The target firing just a little bit too good here. Sepheron will take down another one of these bases, and this feels like the end of the end here. I was really excited to see MightyKiwi with his Infestors. Unfortunately, Sepheron went for the right call. Despite the Microbial Shrouds being thrown down, he just avoided them. He was able to just stutter step away and had to force MightyKiwi to fight outside of that support. Another hatchery is going to fall here, and Sepheron is looking to take this game. MightyKiwi just stuck here with Hydra Infestor. More Infestors are in production, which is really cool, but MightyKiwi is down to 1 mining base, and it is barely mining at that. Oh, another Fungal coming in, another Microbial Shroud, but the DTs, Buffy, no more detection. Even if there wasn't any Void Razor carriers here, the DTs would just win the game anyway. As they force MightyKiwi all the way back. A couple of Fungals are going to be thrown down to help support here. The Infestors coming in clutch against these Void Rays. But there's the Storms. Finally, we have those High Templar coming back in. A GG gets called, and Sepheron will take the first game. Using a style that we haven't seen in a long time, going for the double Stargate Void Ray into Mass Carrier off of a Forge. Something that kind of fell out of fashion, fell out of favor in current meta, but Sepheron showing that it is still quite powerful. MightyKiwi, I'm not really fond of his idea of switching from Queen Corruptor into Queen Hydra, eventually Infestor. I understand the logic behind it, because I'm pretty sure he was hoping that that Sepheron would continue to make Void Rays and slow down the carrier production and not really focus on High Templar. I'm sure he was hoping to force a reaction with his Corruptors. Unfortunately, it wasn't really the case. And because of that, we saw that Hydras don't scale amazingly in the late game. They can. I think a lot of people, they have a lot of stock in Hydra Lurker Viper. It's not the worst composition, but we didn't really see that. Ideally, the Lurkers, they zone out the High Templar, the Vipers zone out the Void Rays, and the Hydras are your anti-air of choice. Instead, MightyKiwi did go for Hydra Infestor instead, which it can work in some scenarios, but yeah, not so much that one. Not so much that one. it's also a bit of a shame that, like, bringing it back a little bit, whenever MightyKiwi did push across the map to take down a base, at the same time Sepheron happened to be doing the same, and they would end up in a weird base trade scenario. And it's always a really awkward position as a Zerg player, just because the Protoss can always recall, the Protoss can always get out of there once the damage is done, and Zerg not as much. To make up for it, the Zerg army is more mobile, don't get me wrong, and the Zerg should also have a little bit more map awareness as to where the army is, but unfortunately MightyKiwi wasn't able to respread his creep in that northern portion of the map, and actually get eyes on where the army was at the time. Oh. And with that, Sepheron has taken the first game. Oh, and we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. It looks like it is going to be on Cosmic Sapphire. Oh boy. Maybe making that map? Let's find out. What a game. Man, I was getting PTSD there for a moment. Lobby link out there, beautiful. And yeah, Sky Toss, Poppy, Sky Toss. It's absolutely disgusting in every league. Oh god, but yeah, Sepheron using it well there, using it well towards the end. Was struggling a little bit in the early to mid game, as we saw MightyKiwi was doing a lot of damage with his Ling run-bys. Bailing run-bys were struggling a little bit more. We'll see where this all leads us. As you can hear the beeps, we are going to be loading in to Cosmic Sapphire. A much larger map, and this worries me a little bit here, because we saw how Sepheron was able to get into his Skytoss on Day to See. You could argue that it can sometimes be easier to do that on Cosmic Sapphire. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a very similar strategy. But here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire. We have the Australian Protoss player representing Team License to Kill, LDK. It is Sepheron. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have the New Zealand Zerg player himself, the best player in all of New Zealand. It is MightyKiwi. Oh boy, and here we go. Sepheron, he's going for the gate first. Oh, and MightyKiwi throwing down a very early spawning pool here. Not quite a 12 pool, but an early pool nonetheless. Interesting. So MightyKiwi just playing it out a little bit more safely here, just making sure he doesn't get cannon rushed, or if he does, he can shut it down quite quickly. Sepheron goes for a probe scout. He confirms the pool gas opener, and this is going to be really interesting here. So MightyKiwi had some options. He could have gone pool hatch gas, but he went for a gas before hatch, so he's going to have some gas early on to work with. If he wanted to, he could even go for an early roach warren or even a baleen nest. Meanwhile, a little bit of micro there between our player Sepheron, opening up with a 2-gate opener. Oh my god, so he's going to have access to quite a number of gateway units, responding quite well here to the pool first. Meanwhile, MightyKiwi thankfully was able to get his natural up and running. Somehow, I don't really know how, but Sepheron kind of got juked a little bit there, and he wasn't able to block that hatchery. Here we go, the Lings are now out. MightyKiwi going to force Sepheron back. And I'm curious as to whether or not we pull out at 100 gas. We have 100 gas for Ling speed, but we are continuing to mine out that gas. Oh, okay, there we go, as we do pull out. If he continued gas mining, then we probably would have seen either a baleen nest or a roach warren thrown down, but MightyKiwi, he only has one in the end. Only going to be playing this out safe. Oh, and now he's going to be under a little bit of danger here. Because there was a 2-gate opener, we have 2 Zealots, and we're going to have 2 Adepts as well. Sepheron is going to move out with his 4 units as soon as possible, and sometimes with slowlings, it can be difficult to deal with this. So Sepheron is going for 1-base play. Oh my god. This is disgusting. Thankfully, MightyKiwi sees this. He has an Overlord over the natural. He sees the lack of Nexus. Alarm bells should be ringing right now. Something is wrong. Why is there no expansion? The reason is because we have a Robo in the main base, and MightyKiwi is going into scout. Meanwhile, the Adepts are pushing out across the map. A lot of these things are being cleaned up. Only 2 Lings remaining. Oh, only going to be 1 Ling remaining here for MightyKiwi. Again, he is under a lot of danger right now. There we go. Ling production has commenced. We have a couple of Queens as well. Spy and Crawler thrown down at the natural. MightyKiwi is fully aware that his opponent is all in. Here we go with Ling speed. Honestly, this is not a bad surround here. MightyKiwi, he's going to be able to catch the first Adept. He's going to be able to clean up at least one of these Zealots, but more importantly, getting the Adept is huge. It does take away that one-shot potential to harass the mineral line. Meanwhile, there we have our Warp Prism. We have a 3rd gateway on the way, so 3 gates. Slow Zealots, slow everything available here to Sepheron. He's even making an Immortal behind this. Oh my god, so he's going to be waiting a little bit longer. Meanwhile, the Adepts get in, and it looks like, oh, with good enough positioning, 3 drones go down. Not really what we want to be seeing here from MightyKiwi. MightyKiwi is actually behind in the worker count now as a result. And because he's a little bit scared, looking at the vision, did MightyKiwi see the Robo? He did. It looks like he's getting ready for potentially DTs or even a hidden Stargate. Meanwhile, the Lings, they come across the map. Ooh, Warp Gate is still not done. These gateways are going to be going down. And this is the only production available to Sepheron. He does have a 3rd gate in the main base, but this is huge. Wow, 2 gates will end up falling. We're only going to have 1 gateway available here for Sepheron. Shield Battery does finish up to try and keep whatever it can alive. Oh my god, but the wall isn't a wall. No! The wall is not a wall. Cybercore is under threat, which will deny any Adepts or any Stalkers from being warped in as well. And the low ground is completely forfeit. We can only warp in slow Zealots, Bappy. Meanwhile, in the main base, we do have a shield battery, so Sepheron is going to be able to hold on to his main, but the damage has been done. From here, MightyKiwi is free to drone. With these links, he's going to confirm the 2 Immortals. Just going to poke and prod. Shouldn't really deal too much damage to these. Just triggers the shields. He does also see the 3 gateways thrown down, so he knows that Sepheron is still committed to the all-in. At the same time, I love it. MightyKiwi does have eyes on the goal base just in case we have a ninja. Up! Oh, the wall is not a wall. Once again, the links get in here just in time. I don't think they can do much, but again, they're wreaking havoc. They're forcing Sepheron to stay at home. Ooh, even dealing some hull damage to the Immortals. Shield Battery is going to put a stop to that. We have another kill, not a cancel on that pylon back at home. Roach Warren is thrown down. We have a 3rd hatchery. MightyKiwi is fully saturated on these 3 bases. Soon to be taking another gas for that Roach production. And everything is looking up MightyKiwi. The longer this goes on, the worse it is for Sepheron. This all-in was supposed to hit minutes ago. Even forced to recall here. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit confused. Okay, I guess an Immortal was stuck or something. But we do have a recall being used. Meanwhile, the Prism is sneaking into the main base. Can go for that warping of slow lots. Oof. And we need Roaches, Papi. So far, Mass Ling on the way. And yeah, we have more than enough links to deal with this, to be honest. Yeah, the Queen's gonna be able to zone away that Prism. Oh, only taking shield damage there, but does at least save those Immortals. Meanwhile, 4 gates. Sorry, 5 gates actually. 5 gate, 1 base, all in, Papi, all in. Aye. Sepheron going to be banking up a couple of warpins here, even has a sentry for that force field. MightyKiwi just going to go for a little bit of a Ling run by. Just going to see what is up, whether or not there is a base or even checking the wall. Will confirm that at least 1 Immortal is back at home. Ooh, and with all these force fields, it's going to be difficult to hold on to this hatchery. Yeah, it looks like MightyKiwi just, I was going to say giving up on the base, but no, he's going to try and commit to save it. Here we go, their Lings, they wrap around that army. Queen standing strong with their transfuses. Roaches come out just in time, and the hatchery got quite low, but there we go. With those transfuses, MightyKiwi will hold on to his third. Not just the third, but the prism goes down, the army goes down. GG gets called, and MightyKiwi takes game number 2, and we are going to our ace match. Oh my god. Wow. GG. One base all-ins aren't really something you see too often, I'll be honest. Not at all. So it's always a treat whenever we see it. As we are going to be diving into game number 3, it is going to be on inside and out. The players just want to get into this as soon as possible, and we go from some of the larger maps in the map pool, Data Sea and Cosmic, to a bit of a smaller map here in inside and out. And honestly, this is the map where I would have thought we would have seen something like a one base all in. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the game that MightyKiwi goes for the 12 pool. What he's known for, Papi. What he's known for. Let's go. As spawning in the top right hand corner of inside and out, we have the Australian Protoss player himself representing Team Licensed to Kill LTK. It is Sepheron. Oh, there it is! We called it. We are in the mind of the David, because spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of inside now, going for the 12 pool, representing New Zealand and Root Gaming, it is MightyKiwi. Let's go, Bobby. It makes the most sense. Out of the 3 maps chosen for this series, it is the shortest rush distance among them. Meanwhile, this natural base, this natural wall can be quite awkward. At this stage of the game, now that the map pool is this old, Sepheron should have an easy time walling off, but he should also be aware that this ramp is quite large, quite wide, quite thick. I wouldn't be surprised if he did end up opening up with something like a forge again. But no, Nexus first. So greedy, Papi. Ay. And here we go. There is that forge that we were talking about. So, fun fact, this is the same opener that Sepheron went for on Data Sea, Data Under the Sea. Exact same opener, going for the for the Nexus expand, or Forge Pass expand, if you will. For the more old school Heart of the Swarm players. But Lings are flooding across the map, and the Forge still needs a little bit more time to finish up. We have the gateway. We should be seeing a full wall up here with 1 additional gate. Oh, still a little bit of a gap here, I think. Looks like it may be a full wall. We'll find out as soon as the Lings show up, as the first cannon is on the way. There we go, with the full wall up now, throwing down that pylon. Looks like we have a little bit of surface area on this forge, and the cannon is a bit of a ways off. I do think that there's going to be a spot here where we can attack the forge and the cannon won't be able to support. Well, I mean, the forge is just straight up going to die. Oh my god. Yeah, the surface area was just a little bit too great. The boys are all being pulled already. The damage is being done. We don't have to kill all these workers, just force a lost mining time, and the Link, somehow they slip on by. Hey, there's something about these New Zealand Zerglings, you know, they're just that much more looped up. They're so slippery, Puppy, as they get into the main base, once again forcing even more lost mining time. This is so worth it. Back at home, MightyKiwi has expanded. He's droning up heavily here. 12 pulls in Z. Oh my god, can you get a probe? Oh, doesn't quite get it in the end. But again, 12 pulls in this matchup are kind of macro openers. They apply a lot of pressure early on, and then we get back into our economy. Meanwhile, we see the full surround. Oh, the first zealot is gonna go down. The micro here from these Lings is insane. We only have 4 Lings remaining, but again, that is enough to force this reaction from Sepheron. Oh my god, as MightyKiwi even turns around for a moment just to chip away at those probes. Gonna be going for another lap around the bases. Nexi has finally finished up. We do have this cannon on the low ground, so MightyKiwi does have to be careful here. Oh, we'll lose another Ling. Only 3 left. But again, behind this, just chilling, just droning. We should be seeing a third base shortly. There we go. Third base is now thrown down. The downside to this 12 pool, of course, is that our link speed is delayed. Our gases are insanely delayed, but there's nothing really threatening MightyKiwi right now. Specifically because of how Sepheron plays this out, he didn't have any gases. Because of his Forge Fast Expand, he couldn't get into his own Adepts, or specifically Adepts, to harass across the map. So MightyKiwi was perfectly safe to delay the gases for as long as he did. Beautiful, Bobby, beautiful. Meanwhile, as you can imagine, because of this opener, I'm sure that Sepheron wants to get into Stargate play. I'm sure he wants to wait until this Ling is dealt with before he gets into it. But I'm curious as well, because we did get a kill on that Forge. Yep, there we go. I'm like, we should be seeing a backup Forge thrown down. There we go. It is finally on the way. We have a full wall off here on 2 bases. It does make sense to go into that Stargate now as another probe goes down. The other thing that's important is that even though all these Lings have fallen and finally Sepheron has control of his own bases, the pylons have been scouted, and MightyKiwi, he can just go in. Like, there's nothing that shoots up other than this cannon. We do see that Sepheron is switching gears here. He's going for a Twilight Council. Ooh, and 3 more gates, 4 gates in total. This is quite aggressive. MightyKiwi, though, he's going in, and there's nothing stopping him from getting that full scout. Meanwhile, behind this, Baneling Nest is thrown down. MightyKiwi has stopped droning at 39. He is done, Bobby. He's going for a bait bust. Oh boy, the slow Lings are going to be catching these Adepts in the middle of the map. The Micro is going to be good enough, though, to take down a lot of these Lings in the process, but the Banelings are on the way. MightyKiwi is undeterred. This full wall, it's going to take a lot of Banelings to break on through, but Sepheron finally recognizes what's going on. He's throwing down 1 shield battery, but only 1. Here we go. The rest of the Lings are on the way. The Adepts have finally been dealt with. MightyKiwi has to pull the trigger here. He has already seen this wall. Does he have enough to break through? Looks like he wasn't fast enough to break in before Warp Gate finished. Oh boy, his Link speed is about to finish up again. MightyKiwi is Giga all in right now. No, oh god, the Warp in! On the wrong side of the wall. The Banelings, they get on in. It looks like they will be able to take down the cannon and the shield battery. The pylon not soon after that, as the Lings are flooding on forward here. We have a couple of warpins of Zealots, but it's not going to be enough. The pylon falls. The Stargate falls. Sorry, the Stalker falls as well. And GG gets called. MightyKiwi takes game 3 and the series. What button is it? There we go. I was gambling with that. GG, well played. MightyKiwi recognizing some of the weaknesses in that build opener of Sepheron, just because of the delayed gas, because of the delayed Adepts. On top of that, the Forge was quite exposed here on Inside and Out. I do think that this is something that MightyKiwi wouldn't have been able to pull off on another map. So a very, very clutch game there. And yeah, Sepheron unfortunately didn't really have eyes on what MightyKiwi was up to. Wasn't aware of the Baneling, of the Bane bust until it was already in his face. GG. And with that, MightyKiwi, he moves on to the next round. But this bracket is quite stacked, and let's take a moment to catch up on everything that's been going on. Oh boy.